We'll continue working on the project together. We'll start by verifying that at this point we only have one item in our library. I will explain to you why it's important that you keep track of your library, and to make this clear, I'll show you an example of how not to animate and how that messes up your library. So open up your document if you don't already have it open. Look inside your library and see that at this point we just have the one and only symbol that we created together. I'm going to click on that symbol on the library and delete it. I'm going to double click on the hand tool to bring the stage into full view. I'll drag an instance out, and I'm going to grab let me double click on the hand tool again, grab the selection tool. I'm just going to move that so there's a uniform space around here. We don't have to measure it, but we could. We could go into properties and we could change these to be the same number. For example, if I put 142 in each of these, that's going to change the center of this object so that it's 142 pixels from here and 142 pixels from here. Let's go ahead and name the layer that our symbol's on, and you can tell which one it's on if only one has a filled in dot, or you can toggle the eyeball and see, yep, that's the layer it's on, because, for example, if I toggle this eyeball, it has no effect, and that's because there's nothing on these layers. So we'll double click here and we'll name this one main underscore symbol. The reason I use an underscore in here is because this program knows that you may take these things and talk to them with computer language. And with computer language, you should not have spaces. You really shouldn't start out the name of anything with a uppercase letter or a number. So it's a good habit to get into. But if you did just call this main space symbol, a warning would pop up. You'd click OK and it would put the underscore in there for you. Now I'll show you the wrong way first to create a classic tween. So don't do this, just watch what I do. So I'm going to grab and set up for, let's see, we'll do this on, or I'll do this on a different layer. I'll grab the shape tool, the rectangle tool, and I'll just do something that looks kind of like our other shape, just for the heck of it. Okay, close enough. So here's what you do not want to do. You do not want to create the entity, in this case a shape, that you're going to classic tween, and then go out a few frames later, make a copy of it, move it, and so now you have this in the first frame, this in the last frame. Go to the library. Now keep an eye on the library. I'll right click in here and I will say create classic tween. So what I did wrong here that you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to do a classic tween unless you first have a symbol. So here from the last video we created a symbol together, and you'll see when I animate this, and I'll do a very similar animation to it, nothing extra shows up in the library. So the reason that that's important that nothing extra shows up in the library is it's just a waste of computer resources. And one of the key things about Adobe Animate is you can use it to make animations for the web, and for the web you want to use the least amount of computer resources possible. Okay, so I'll just Command Z several times to get rid of everything that I did there, and we should see, oh yeah, no, the library is not going to clean itself out, so I'll just have to go into here, click on this one, hit the trash can, click on this one, hit the trash can. Okay, so now I am back to where you are, and we will create our first animation for the project together. I'll go back to the project page And I'll go ahead and view this animation just to see what it looks like. Okay, so it's starting now. So basically what's happening is it first says what we're going to do, and then it does it. So I will name this layer the underscore text, and we'll just keep reusing this same layer for the text that appears. So let's go ahead, and if you don't have a blank keyframe here, go ahead and F7, give yourself a blank keyframe. I'm going to go ahead and copy my text from the project page. Command C to copy that from the project page, go back into Animate, click on the text tool, go to Properties, and I want to make this the same as the text I used for the symbol. So either Helvetica New or Helvetica or Arial, and size 20, fill will be black, text tool still selected, we'll click, give it about the same space from the edge here, and Command V to paste that. Clean up my document a little bit by getting rid of this layer. And then it's just important now to pay attention to what layer we are on. So we said that this all stayed there for about a second, and then we are going to animate the X position. So if you remember basic math, coordinates, this is X going horizontally and Y this way. So an X animation just means that this is going to go from here over to here after staying there for 1 second. So we're at 20 frames per second. 1 frame later is right here. So I will click there on my main symbol layer, and I will do an F6. Now what I did was I just copied the instance of this symbol, and then 1 second later I'm going to click here and do an F6 again. And so these will be the 2 keyframes that I animate between. And that's one of the main things that you have to understand when you're doing the computer-based animation, is that you're always animating from 1 frame, which is called a keyframe, because that's where the key information lies, to another keyframe. So if you have problems, always keep that in your mind, animating from 1 keyframe to another. So now what we do is we go over to the keyframe that we are animating to, and we are just going to simply move that. So I'm going to grab the selection tool, I'm going to click and drag, and to keep me from going off of the X axis, I'll hold down the Shift key, and that'll keep it right on this line. I'll move it kind of nice and clean over here and release the mouse and the Shift key. And then I will put my cursor in here, and I will get in the habit of looking in the library just to make sure that nothing weird happens here. Because remember last time we did a keyframe to keyframe animation, we ended up with something extra in the library. So I'm going to right click in between here, and I'm going to select Classic Tween, and notice that nothing showed up new in the library, and that's because this was an instance of this symbol, and this was an instance of that symbol. And now it is moving for us automatically. Now we'll go out one more 1 second interval, and we will do another F6. And what that'll do is extend it to here. And when I say to here, I mean to right here, and then right here gives us another instance of the symbol for our upcoming animation. We want the text to say what we are going to do. We want that to last. We want the animation to occur. We want it still to stay there. And then once we complete the animation, then after that animation frame, we'll go ahead and say what we are going to do next. Now, there's two ways you could do this. The more cumbersome way is you could hit an F7 right here, give yourself a blank keyframe, and then paste the text again. But I think it's easier if you just click here, do an F6, copy the same exact text that you had, go out to the project page, copy the new text, go back to Animate, get your cursor in here. Now you could grab the text tool, or you could just simply click a few times in here, and the program's smart enough to change it to the text tool. Swipe across, selecting everything that's in there. So that's a click and drag with the text tool across the inside of this text area once it becomes selected, and then Command or Control V, paste the information in there, select away, and now we're ready to continue animating. So we are going to animate the Y axis from this frame to 1 second later this frame. So we'll put our F6 in here, making sure that we are on the last frame. We'll go ahead and grab this. Again, we'll use the Shift key to keep that from going all over the place. Put in our classic tween. And then we'll go ahead and extend our text to 1 frame past where the action happened. By action, I mean animation. And if we scrub our playhead, we can see that we're telling the audience what we're about to do. We do it. We tell the audience what we're about to do. We do it. Excellent time to save. And a good time to preview. So Command return or Control return, and we can see that we have exactly what we were hoping for.